Alright, everyone, welcome back to another Watch and Talk here in Automotive Anatomy. So the video cuts up short. I end up flipping the SUV around and then still drawing the back. And I actually took my time, opened up the trunk, um, clean it all in there. But I didn't realize that the video had shut down. I guess the battery ran out. But it's still a 20-minute Watch and Talk, so it is what it is. Welcome back. I really appreciate you guys just tuning in, those that do. It's funny because I've been seeing the algorithm be like really throwing things off, at least on my Instagram. I continue to get support from people and they follow, but the following count hasn't changed. And that was brought up to my attention by one of my buddies, Edu, who runs a Carros and Pics Instagram, who told me about it first. And I was like, well, I don't know, man, it's the algorithm. I don't know what to tell you. And then I started noticing it myself. I was like, yep, freaking algorithm. And then I noticed on YouTube, shoot, I mean, we're getting like 800, 900 views, which it's weird because a lot more of you guys tune in, not necessarily to the Watch and Talks, but to just events and things like that. So there's a bigger global thing going on where they're messing with the algorithm. But it's funny that tends to happen right now. I guess some ideas is that people are out traveling, so they're not on YouTube, which makes sense, right? They're not consuming as much media if they're out traveling, they're out walking, enjoying life as they should. But I don't know, I find it a little odd. But that's also one of the reasons why I've had conversations with different people in different spaces, and they always tell me like, hey, like, have you considered making this your full-time job? And YouTube, Instagram, social media, content creation, whatever you want to call it, it's extremely lonely. And what I mean by that, like, yeah, it's cool that your social media numbers continue to grow, but honestly, the way I look at it is just make believe. People do treat you different because you have a bigger Instagram page or a YouTube page. They know that they reach the exposure that they can get from you, and so yeah, companies, people will treat you different. It's a reality. As much as we want to sugarcoat it, no. I've noticed that I gotten, treated better by certain people in the automotive world because they know that they have a certain reach. And that's just the reality. And kind of brings me back to the next 2 points that I wanted to discuss. Number one, it's difficult to make this a living because you're at the mercy of the algorithm. You're at the mercy of people. There's been so many times where people cancel on me the day before or things like that for an interview for different reasons. Oh, I forgot we have plans, or things like that. And I don't blame them because it's just a video, right? They forget that they have important things going on. Sometimes their cars break or whatever the case may be. And I'm okay with it because I'm like, cool, it sucks, but no worries. I'll see if I can find a Cars and Coffee. But if it was my livelihood, if that was the way I provided for my family, I don't think I would be as calm. I think I would be upset, even angry, right? Like, oh shoot, and that's part of the reason why I don't do this, and that's the reason why I think a lot of automotive creators, they travel, right? They go to different spots. By the way, I didn't like the ladder, so shout out to Rafa, who keeps telling me to get a ladder for the car to wash on top. I don't like it for the wash of the car. It's just so tedious, but it helps, I guess. And it just makes it so difficult. It makes it so difficult to be at the mercy of something or someone. Now, if you're like, I guess, the Jay Leno's of the world, where this is more of a hobby and financially you're really secure, then yeah, by all means, people can cancel left and right. In fact, when you have such a big following, goes back to the way people treat you. You can, the same day, you can reach out to someone else and they'll make the time for you. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult to be at the mercy of the algorithm, but that's how it goes. We don't complain when it goes our way, right? When the videos do very well and they go these crazy exposure, we're not complaining about it. And so it's a kind of it's just part of the game, you could say. So the next point that I wanted to discuss was just wanted to say thank you to everybody who always tunes in and just always positive. On my Instagram, I had shared that there was I think it was like 3, 4, 5 days ago. I can't remember. Obviously, at the time of this video is longer, but there was a conversation that I had with my wife, and we just talked about goals, and she mentioned some of other goals that other people are working on and other people, and I think I got frustrated not with what other people are doing, but what I'm not being able to do. But let me break it down to you, and ultimately it comes. The answer is, or I guess the where it's coming from is lack of gratitude from my end. Some of you guys have seen me continue to see me grow through this platform called YouTube, right? Especially in the Washington talks, you guys have seen me discussed about, okay, well, this is the next thing that I want. This is the next thing that I want, and then it happens. So it's so easy for me to forget, like, hey, these are the blessings, these are the accomplishments that we've gotten to this point. I think part of my problem is that I don't take the time to really appreciate and show gratitude for what we've accomplished. That I don't know if that's just my mindset. Like, I'm always like, okay, what's next? What's next? I wasn't taking the time to just be appreciative of where I am in life and what I have and who I have in my life. And the conversation that I was having with my wife was just about how one of my biggest plans is to be able to retire her from work and she can just be with the family. And my mom can also be with the family, so like, at this moment, have my son be with both mom and grandma. I think that would be amazing. And my wife's cool for it. She's like, yeah, that'd be great, but obviously financially, especially where we live, it's not possible at the moment. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's the frustration, I guess, from my end. And it's not that so much. It's like, obviously we need the money, right? That's the money that we need. It's the tool. I personally would want the money to be able to pay off mortgage, be able to pay off bills. It's not so much to have a Porsche GT3 RS as much as I would want that. It's not so much to have a 63 Impala as much as I would want that. Growing a family and being here, having some scary times as a parent, as a dad, it makes me realize, like, oh shoot, like, life is very, very fragile. And I think that's what I was, I went through some stuff, with my son, and I was just like, holy crap, it tripped me out, for the lack of a better word. It reminded me how fragile life is. He's gonna be one already, and then it also reminds me how fast life is, and I'm just like, I talked about it in a couple Washington talks back, where I stayed up at night, kind of overthinking things. And some of you guys were great. You guys sent me DMs. Chris, with the NSX, Rafa, and other people just send me much love, and I really appreciate you guys. The fact that you guys took the time to DM me and be like, hey bro, I also feel like this, and we had a nice chat. Homie Roger was cool to have good conversations with him. It's like, it gave me that sense of like, okay, cool, I guess I'm not the only one who thinks this way, and there are a lot of responsible dads out there who thinks that way. And as I'm thinking about this, I'm just like, man, like, I am really working towards, saving money, investing, things like that, to ensure that hopefully, in a perfect world, I wish I could retire my mom, right? Like, fully, but I'm not there yet. And I think that's the frustration, like those two things right there, not being able to frustrate, not able to retire my mom nor my wife. And I know some people will be like, what are you talking about? Like, that's just not possible. And that's the part where I kind of fight back and I say, hell no, it is possible. It is possible to, use your money wisely. And that means that, I just bought some wheels, which sounds like, I guess the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I just came across some wheels the specs are great. I'm sure you guys are gonna see that video. But I'm also gonna be selling some other wheels, right? That's kind of the point where I'm at. I need to make room, and I almost felt like guilt buying those wheels. And my wife was like, "Dude, chillax. You haven't bought wheels since like a year ago." And my birthday just passed in July 18th, so she's like, that can be your birthday present. Like, not everything has to be like, okay, how can I invest this, or how can we? And that's a great reminder that I was like, okay. And I've had conversations with her when we go on our walks. We do daily walks, and I'm like, hey, like, do you think I'm too much of a frugal cheapskate? She was like, I don't think you are. I think you definitely overthink, which is not a bad thing. It's you overthink like other people don't overthink. It's like you constantly thinking. I'm like, I am. And she's like, but it's good. It's positive. Like, you guys, like, if you guys know me one on one, personally, I really tried to stay away from politics. I try to stay away from negativity. I don't watch the news. The reality is no one's gonna come to save you. It doesn't matter who's in office. They don't care. It's just a game for them. They want us everyday people to fight against each other so they can continue, fattening their pockets. That's what they do. That's politicians. That's Congress. That's celebrities. That's what they're doing. They're just utilizing your attention, preying on the things that are important to you and use it against you to put it, to put everybody else against each other. It's almost like that analogy. I don't know if it's an analogy or that example where, you can put, I think it was black ants and red ants, and you just put them, calmly in one same little, I don't know, cup, and they'll coexist, right? But as soon as you shake it, then they start attacking each other. And that's really, I think, what society has turned into. But again, I digress. One last thing, I think we're in a very low point in our country, just in general, all of us in general. It's like whatever. And so that's the reason why I stay away from that. I'm like, let me focus on what I can focus. And the reality is that it is hard to purchase homes. It is hard to do that. The Gen Z generation. I feel bad for you guys because obviously not everybody's a streamer, not everybody's a content creator, not everybody. There's some Gen Zs are making killer money, which is great for them, but not everybody's like that. Most people are gonna be, having to live with their parents for 30, 40 years because just even rent, it's crazy expensive. But I still don't subscribe to that idea. I'm like, well, I'm only here for, if I'm lucky, 80 years. And that's another thing. We like to believe that 50 years is our like halfway point, but statistically, I think people live up to 75 to 80. So if you think about it, it's only 35. So I just turned 33. So that means I'm a middle-aged man, right? I don't think about it that way. I think I'm going to live till I'm 90. But the way I'm eating it's not going to happen. So that's another thing, right? I'm financially, mentally, and physically, I'm not taking care of my health. And the month of June, I lost a little bit of weight. I was walking quite a bit. And then the month of July, it's just hasn't been good, and gained it all back. And I think in most of my areas of my life, I have that control, but except that eating and that taking care of myself. So I fluctuate a lot. And there's no excuses. The excuse is I overeat. The excuse is I don't have a healthy relationship with food. I don't have that willpower or whatever you want to call it. I don't have that consistency, structure, everything. You would be 1,000% right. Lazy, yes, everything. And so that's something that I also got to work on. But, those are the things that were, kind of keeping me like, okay, well, I'm a very goal-driven individual. I set timelines. And I like gratitude because there's so many timelines and goals that I've put out there that I've accomplished way before. And it's crazy. It's crazy because they happen. And now the next one that I'm working on is more of a long-term one. And I think that's the challenge that I'm having, where in the immediate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I know I'm not going to be able to see the immediate change, the dent on the goal per se. And it's I guess difficult, but that's just the way I am. Oh, by the way, shout out to somebody who left a comment a long time ago. It's like, hey man, this conversation was just a whole bunch of nonsense. And I was just like, well, welcome to the Washington Talks. That's what I do. But that's kind of like the biggest thing. I think the next thing for me is now create smaller goals, weekly, monthly. And to some people, this is crazy. They're like, okay, just put the fries in the bag, bro. To me, I'm just like, okay, what can I do to get closer to those goals? I'll give you an example. Back when I was in my master's program and I was working 2 jobs, my morning job, it was specifically for the student loans, and some of you guys know I don't have student loan debt. I paid it all off, and what helped me at the time, obviously I was younger, than I have the responsibilities that I have now, was to see that number go down. Right, I think I owe at the highest point I owe like 40 grand. And that's because I was paying about 2,200 a month, give or take. I think the most I ever gave was 1 year during April. Some tax refunds or whatever. My money, I guess. My money with interest, I should say. And I think I paid over like 5,000, which is a lot of money for me, now, imagine back then. But it gave me that sense of like, cool, I'm putting a dent on this. And at the time, I didn't have the knowledge to do something different, Now looking back, right, hindsight is 2020. I'm like, shoot, I should have bought a house back then, and that would have given me a greater return than the debt that I was paying. But when you don't know, you just don't know, and I don't know, right? I'm just trying to have the most peaceful, fulfilling life, and so thanks to those actions, I was able to obviously to not have any debt. I'm not waiting for the government to come and bail me out. I don't need that, right? But now, okay, cool, we're past that. Now can we get to the next level? And so that, to me, that's the next level, to be able, me personally, I'm 33, so I still weird to say that. I still feel like I'm 24, but I'm 33 now. I put in my head that I'm going to work to at least 55. To some people, it's like, dude, that's super young. For me, it's just keeping on track. I know it's going to happen. There's a lot of things I need to do. And it's crazy because to some people may say, well, dude, you're trying to talk about, saving money and blah, blah, blah. You just bought a set of wheels. And like I told you guys, I felt some guilt. What is it? Buyer's remorse. But after discussing with the wife, she's always like the one that's like, hey, chillax, you're good, we're good, relax. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I utilize what I already have? So I have their 17-inch wheels, so I have two sets of 17-inch wheels are just literally sitting. So I'm going to take the tires from one of those and put onto the new wheels, the new old wheels, and so that's going to open up a little bit more space on the garage. I'm trying to clean it up a little bit. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like in my head, I'm making myself feel better because I'm not going to spend on tires as well. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. So I know this is just my thoughts, but at the end of the day, we all have different goals. My goals are different than yours. I don't expect people to understand where I'm coming from. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It just gives me that idea, that sense of I have control over my future. If I eliminate things that cause me to have to stay in a stagnant situation, when I'm 55, I want to be able to walk away from my job and be like, cool, I don't have to do this. Most likely, when you don't have those those financial responsibilities to go to a job, I think people tend to do a better job. They're energetic. They're like, I don't have to be here, but I'm here because I want to, as opposed to the majority of the people where it's just another Monday, can't wait till retirement. And the crazy thing is, here in the States, in Southern California, the retirement age is getting older and older because, seniors can't retire. I'm not gonna benefit from retirement. That thing's gonna be broke by, I don't know, in a few years. There's no such thing as pensions, right? So we're saving ourselves, and so it's at least I'm thinking that way. But I'm trying to enjoy every day. I know I shouldn't be thinking about retirement already. I'm barely 33, but at the same time, I'm also thinking like that's how you get caught, in a strange situations, because time flies. And one day I'm gonna open up my eyes and I'm 43. Am I still in the same situation as I was when I was 33, 43, 23? Then that's a concern. And it's two-edged sword, however they say it. It's good and it's bad, but I don't know. I try to, I guess, unload on you guys instead of constantly telling my wife, because I'm sure she's just like, damn, this guy's always thinking. But I think the good thing is I like I tell my buddy, my buddies, the biggest cheat code in life is who you marry or who you choose to be with if you don't believe in marriage. Because they can really level you up or they can really drag you down. And I know a lot of you guys are shaking your head right now, especially the older individuals who may have gone through some difficult times or are going through some difficult times. You're like, yep, that's very true. And I'm very blessed. I'm very happy that, my wife has had the same mentality as me. We've had this, we know we share the same values and morals and goals, and she's definitely more of a little bit of spender. She's the one that gets me out of that shell, like, hey, we need to travel. And now I'm telling her, like, look, this is the plan. The plan is, our son is 1 year old. When he's 9, 10, 11, 12, like, we can do short trips. When he's 12 and up, like, definitely I want to go back to Europe. And the best way is to not have bills. And she agrees. She goes, 1,000% agree with that. And for now, we quote unquote sacrifice, and our sacrifice is going on walks where we wanted to live forever. And so, again, lack of gratitude from my end. I have everything and anything I need and have ever wanted. So, I think just recognizing that, we're in a much better spot. It's super important. So, let me know if any of these resonates with you. Let me know if I'm overthinking it. Like always. Ultimately, I guess, you can do whatever you want. I'll do whatever I want. But I think it just motivates me to hear from other people and be like, yep, you're not the only one, bro. Like, okay, cool. I appreciate you guys, the love and the support for those that order your license plate frames. Really, I appreciate you guys so much. It goes a long way. I'm going to have a discussion about that in the next Wash and Talk. Peace out, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.